Hello my students, hope you are doing well. My name is Madam Jennifer from EducareTZ. Welcome in our today's session, Chemistry Form 3. My students, we are proceeding with our topic, compounds of metal. And today we discuss on the metal hydroxide. When we talk on the hydroxide, this is any inorganic compound that contains hydroxyl group. Come from the term hydroxide. And it is indicated by the letter OH negative. Most metal hydroxide are bases. And they have a pH greater than 7, that neutralizing acid. Mara nyingi bezi zetu katika ile pH scale inaanzia 7 hadi kwenye 14. They are basic in nature and they use to neutralize the acid. Now let us consider the preparation of metal hydroxide. The metal hydroxide is prepared by using the two methods. The first one is by direct method, the second one by indirect method. Direct method, this involves in preparation of high reactive metals, higher in reactivity series. Example of this metal are sodium, potassium, magnesium. All metals which are above hydrogen in reactivity series are prepared by direct method. Na hizi hapa metals zinapokuwa zina react na hydroxide na maji zinaenda kupatia metal hydroxide plus hydrogen gas or efferences. Note, nini maana efferences? Is the formation of gas bubbles in liquid by chemical reaction. So efferences is the formation of gas bubbles in liquid by a chemical reaction. Example, potassium, when reacted with water, we get the potassium hydroxide and efferences gas or hydrogen gas. Note that alkaline earth metals such as calcium hydroxide are only sparingly soluble in water. And hydroxide or all metals in reactivity series which are below hydrogen cannot be prepared by direct method. They are prepared using the indirect method. In indirect method, in this method, aqueous salt of metal are reacted by aqueous alkalis such as sodium hydroxide and potassium hydroxide, and reaction is referred as precipitation reaction. Kwa katika indirect method, naona kwamba tunatumia salt of metals, kwa mfano kama ni lead chloride, tunamreactisha na soluble base. Kwa mfano kama ni potassium na sodium hydroxide ambazo ni common base zetu, kuweza kutupatia hydroxide wetu pamoja na chumvi. Kwa mfano, we have zinc chloride plus sodium hydroxide, tunapata ni zinc hydroxide plus sodium chloride. Also, when you have solution of copper chloride plus sodium hydroxide solution, we get the copper hydroxide and sodium chloride, which is our salty, and potassium hydroxide as our insoluble hydroxide. Classification of metal hydroxide. Metal hydroxide is classified based on the two criteria. The first one is based on the solubility, and the second based on the reactivity with acid or base. Let us consider the soluble hydroxide. When we say the term soluble, means there's something which dissolves. Now, soluble metal include metals of group 1 and group 2. They are insoluble in water, like hydroxide of sodium and potassium, while metals of group 2, elements like calcium and magnesium, are sparingly soluble in water. Kwa group 1 element are only metals ambazo zenye zinakuwa zina dissolve completely katika maji kutengeneza basic hydroxide, lakini group 2 metals, kwa mfano calcium na magnesium, zina dissolve lakini hazidissolve completely. Ndio maana tunaita sparingly soluble in water. Insoluble metal hydroxide, from the term insoluble means that they do not dissolve in water. And the example of these include the metals of zinc, lead, aluminium are insoluble in water. And basic hydroxide, these hydroxide which form alkalis or basic hydroxide. Kwa jina lingine tunasema kwamba ni zile metal ambazo zinatengeneza basic solution. Na mfano wa hizi hapa basic hydroxide tumeona ni group 1 element. Example potassium na sodium. Ambazo zikireact na acid tunapata salt and water as the only product. Example, sodium hydroxide solution tukimreactisha na sulfuric acid tunapata sodium sulfate plus water as the only product. Amphoteric hydroxide, these hydroxide which contain two properties. They have both acidic properties and basic properties. Means that they have ability to react with both base and both acid. Example, we have hydroxide of zinc, lead and aluminium. They dissolve to form complex ion when they are reacted with base. Example, reaction of amphoteric hydroxide with base. Hapa tuna zinc hydroxide ukimreactisha na sodium hydroxide. Hapo tunaenda kupata sodium zincate. Huyu hapa ni complex. Tunamuita sodium zincate plus water. Also we have aluminium hydroxide. Tukimreactisha na sodium hydroxide tunaenda kupata sodium aluminate plus water. This is a complex ion. Also, this amphoteric hydroxide, when reacted with acid, we get water and salt as the only byproduct. Example, aluminium hydroxide plus hydrochloric, we get aluminium chloride plus water as the only product. Now let us consider the chemical properties of metal hydroxide. We have said that the metal hydroxide are categorized based on two criteria, based on the solubility and reaction with acid and base. And these are the chemical properties of metal hydroxide. First one, action of heat on metal hydroxide. Hydroxide of metal hydroxide, high in reactivity acids such as sodium na potassium do not decompose on heating. Tunasema kwamba hydroxide ya metals ambazo zipo above hydrogen katika reactivity series, kwa mfano sodium hydroxide na potassium hydroxide, they do not decompose on heating. This is because of the strong bond which they have. So normal heating is not enough to break the bond between them. Na hivyo other metal hydroxide, kwa mfano zinc, lead, aluminium hydroxide, zenyewe zikibe heated zina decompose kutengeneza aluminium oxide plus water or any metal oxide plus water. Let us consider the example. Here we have lead hydroxide. When heated, we get the metal oxide plus water. Action on acid. Metal hydroxide reacts with acid to form water and salt as the only products. And in other term, we can say it as a neutralization reaction. Example, sodium hydroxide plus hydrochloric, we get sodium chloride and water. Also, potassium hydroxide, when reacted with the sulfuric, we get the potassium sulfate plus water. Also, sodium hydroxide plus nitric acid, when reacted, we get the sodium nitrate plus water. So this is how metal hydroxide reacting with acid to give water and salt as the only product. Uses of metal hydroxide. The metal hydroxide has got different uses in different fields in our daily life and in chemical industry. And let us consider the few uses of metal hydroxide in our daily life. Example, in agriculture. In agriculture, we have calcium hydroxide. The calcium hydroxide is used as a liming material. Pale ambapo unakuta udongo wako unakuwa una asidi nyingi, unashauriwa kuweza kuongeza liming material. Na example of that liming material tuna calcium hydroxide. Hii calcium hydroxide inatumika katika neutralization ya acid ili kuweza kuprovide a good soil for growing up your crops. Vile vile katika medicine. Katika medicine unakuta kwa mfano wale wagonjwa ambao wanasumbuliwa na tumbo kujaa gesi. Wakienda hospitalini pale wakapimwa na madaktari, wanaambiwa kwamba wakagunduliwa kwamba wana gesi, madaktari mara nyingi wanatumia metal hydroxide. Na example of those metal hydroxide tunakuwa tuna ammonium hydroxide, tunasikia kuna vidonge vya aluminium na magnesium hydroxide. Hizi hapa zinatumika as antacid ili kuweza kupunguza gesi ambayo mtu anayo tumboni mwake. Now, here there is a task to test your understanding and you have to take a note on this. Which gas involved when two metals react with water? Which gas involved when two metals react with water? Number 2, complete the following reaction. Sodium hydroxide when heated, or decomposition of sodium hydroxide, and the second one is decomposition of lead hydroxide. The third question, with example, explain how metal hydroxide are important in a chemical industry. With examples, explain how metal hydroxide are important in a chemical industry. My lovely student, I think now you are familiar with the metal hydroxide, and you are welcome for the next session, and that's marked the end of our today's lesson. Thank you.